In this video, let's start talking about walls and how we can add walls to this particular small cottage. So you can access walls by going to the build panel under the architecture tab, and there is a button which is a split button. You can click on the button and start working on it. Now the split button, how it works is if you click on this the top part, it starts creating a normal wall. Now if you drop this menu down, there are other options for you, like structural walls. You can create a wall by face. There are other options like wall sweep and reveals, but we are more interested in just creating an architectural wall. So we can start by clicking on it, and whenever you hover over it, also it provides you a nice visual tooltip like this, which you're seeing here. So I'm going to click on the wall button, and right when I click on the wall button, things change in my the ribbon, and you begin to see this context menu again, and it's providing me with more tools that I can use in order to create walls. Now let's take a look at this context panel first, and then move on to some of the other elements here. So in the context panel, I see like I can draw a straight wall, so I can just go ahead and start drawing a straight wall like that. I can create a enclosed wall like this one here. Then I can just use it to create hexagon shaped enclosed walls. Again, something similar by providing the radius, and then circles. I can do that as well. Like if I wanted to create like a cylindrical building, I can do that. I can also start creating arcs. So pretty cool things that you can do, because it automatically snaps to the tangent. So it's pretty cool. And the cool thing about this particular wall tool is that you begin to see some of the dimensions right away. So when you draw a wall, you begin to see that it's providing you what the length of the wall is. Now this is, I'm moving from 2 to 3 to 8 and so on and so forth. So you begin to see all that information. And another thing, it's good that this popped up. Revit is gonna ask you to save your file so that you don't lose your work. And whenever Revit does this, make sure to save the project. I'm not going to do that right now because this is not a project that I'm working on, so I don't really care. I'm not going to do that right now. But what I can do is I can go here to the save button here. Since I haven't saved it previously, I can go ahead and save it. So on the desktop, I'm going to save it as Cottage, not JPG, but I'm going to delete that part because there is a JPG there. And I'm just going to save it as a Cottage RVT. Now, if you drop it down, you have other options as well, like a template file. I'm not going to save it as a template. I'm going to save it as a RVT, a Revit file. And let's see some of the options that's available here. Backups, you have 3 maximum backups. I can increase it if I wanted to. So if you fail to save it, what Revit does is it automatically creates backups, and we can we'll see how we can use a backup and restore our file later on as well. But it's always encouraged that you save your file incrementally. And the thumbnail preview, I can change it to whatever I want, but I'm just going to leave it as it is. And I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to save my file. So this particular Revit file is now saved on my desktop. So we were talking about different types of walls, and I'm going to delete all of this. I can draw a window and just delete the segments of walls that I just drew. There we go. So let's select wall, and there are other options as well. Now you can pick lines to create walls as well. We don't have lines here, so unfortunately we can't do that. But if we had, let's say, a line drawing like an AutoCAD drawing, we can use this pick lines option in order to draw create our walls. You can also pick faces in order to create walls as well, and we'll see how some of these tools can be used later on. Another thing that I'm gonna move back to the line tool, the wall tool, and some of the things that pops up in this options bar. This is the options bar for walls. The height. So the height right now, it says unconnected and it goes up to 20 feet. What does that mean really? Now, in order to understand what it means, we need to go into an elevation. The cool thing about Revit is it works in 3D. Even though we're trying to work in 2D, it's working in 3D. So let's go into an elevation and see what this means. When I click on an elevation, I have these elevation markers. So my base level or level 1 is at 0, 0, which is where my plan rests, and my top level, level 2, is at 10 feet. Now I can change this depending on the height of my project. Now this cottage is going to be a single-storied cottage, and I want it at let's say I want it at 11 feet. So in order to make it 11 feet, what I can do is I can double click on this and I can make this 11 feet, right? So that moves the level up 1 foot beyond what we had previously, right? So this is what it means about the levels. Now if I go into the other plans, it's going to be the same case, right? You can see these are going to have the same level change that I made. That's the cool thing about Revit. It coordinates everything automatically. So now once I go back again to my level 1 plan, this is that, and if I go into my wall tool again, this section, what it means is the height is unconnected. It's not constrained by any of the levels that I have, but I do want it to be constrained, and there is a reason why I want it to be constrained, and I'll tell you why I need it to be at level 2. So I'm gonna just, for the time being, I'm gonna say it's gonna be constrained at level 2, and there are no offset, and there is this chain is set. What the chain means is if I start drawing the wall, it creates a chain of walls rather than individual elements, and I want that to happen. If I uncheck this chain, what happens is so it becomes segmented, and that's going to be a mess when I start creating the walls. So I'm going to delete all of that, go back here. So the chain, I'm going to enable that. There are no offsets. What if I had an offset? So let's say I had a 1 foot offset. If I use my wall, it's going to create, now this is my line that I'm creating, and it's creating the wall 1 foot beyond the line that I'm actually making in on top of my drawing. So I don't want that to happen. It needs to be at 0. The offset should be 0. There are no radiuses. I'm just going to leave that as it is. So this is what I need. Now let's say I just draw, let's just draw something, just random walls, and then if I go in here and draw another wall, this time rather than having the constraint at level 2, I'm going to say unconnected, and the unconnected height I can say about 15 feet, right? And then I'm going to draw another wall here, right? So if I wanted to see this in 3D, I can quickly do that by clicking on this birdhouse kind of a icon here. So it's a small house really. If you click on it, you begin to see your drawing. Now this is my walls at 11 feet. This is my walls unconstrained wall at 15. These are constrained walls at 11. So if I go back to my elevation here, let's see in my elevation, and what I can do is, now if I move this, like I can select it and move it up and down. You see these walls, they move with the level change that I'm making, but this wall, it's unconstrained, so it does not have any constraint, and it doesn't change when I change this. The cool thing about this is, because I can go back and make everything 11 feet, make the constraint 11 feet. The cool thing is, like, let's say you're drawing a plan, you're drawing a building, and then in the middle you figure out that you need to make it rather than 10 feet, you need to make all the walls go up to 15 feet to allow for the services to be underneath the ceiling or something like that. And then rather than going one by one for each of the walls and changing the height, you can just change the constraint and everything changes together. So that's why we need to make those changes. And so with that, let's go back to level 1, and I'm going to delete all of that, and I'm going to go here and start drawing my walls. So I'm going to go into the wall command, and we talked about these things. The next thing that I want to talk about is this properties panel. So on the properties section, we have the basic wall, the generic. If you click this small arrow down, you can change the type of wall that you're creating. The generic, I can change it to, let's say, a masonry wall if I wanted to. Like if I wanted an 8-inch masonry wall, I can change it to the basic masonry wall. And then I can take a look at some of the other options. Now the base constraint, which means where the wall starts from, is 1 foot, level 1, sorry, and the top constraint is unconnected. Now I don't want that to be the case. I want it to be constrained to level 2, and I can do this here or here, it doesn't really matter. There are no offsets, and that's it. So now I can start drawing my walls. So to draw the walls, I can just click anywhere that I want, and it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be very accurate. I can go back and change, and as you can see, it easily creates the walls without any difficulty at all. And what I can do is I can click on the modify tool and use my keyboard keys to refine this drawing just a bit if I wanted to. And when I do so, I also see these dimensions. Now this is giving me a center to center dimension. Rather than a center to center dimension, I want to see the inside of it. So in order to do that, I can click on this small dot here, and it pops into the inside of the wall. I'm gonna do that here as well, and it pops into the inside of the wall. And if I do it one more time, it's gonna go back to the outside. So I want it at the very inside. The inside dimension is 21 feet and 3/8 of an inch, which seems a little bit odd for a number. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a liberty here and just change it to, let's say, 21 feet, right? So that's fine. The size of it is going to be okay, and that's it. Those are my walls. Now if I want to see how it looks in 3D, I'm going to go here, and these are my walls, how it's going to look like, and I can press on my shift key to rotate it around to see how it looks like. So in the next video, let's take a look at some of the other elements that we can add into our building.